Ni hao and welcome back to the English broadcast of the LPL. We're coming in for our second game between RNG and TOP. I was promised some spice out from RNG. I didn't get it. I'm sad, Clement.
Yeah, I'm definitely very disappointed in RNG. You said this was going to be a fun game. People showed up and cheered for you for a fun game. And you brought out that stale, old, but very good RNG.
It was very good, yes. And you managed to win that one in spectacular fashion over TOP. But TOP are actually the one who brought out the Blitzcrank, so that was fun to see.
Yep, definitely, and we do see Let Me again starting over Zatai here. They're gearing up for playoffs, probably trying to throw a left punch here and get teams confused on who they should prepare for.
Yeah, Let Me was actually doing a great job last game as well at being a split pusher, at being a carry on the Camille. You know, it seems like now Zatai and Let Me can kind of do the same thing, and Let Me is just being groomed in that position now.
Yep, that's definitely something interesting I do want to ask about it. We have a couple shots out of our L'Oreal tunnel. That's actually its name, L'Oreal Tunnel.
Is it L'Oreal Tunnel or L'Oreal Tunnel?
I don't want to get in trouble with sponsors, so just follow your pronunciation.
Excellent. All right, we're about to get into this next game here between TOP, just getting headsets and peripherals all in place between these two teams. And what are we expecting? Because we're expecting an RNG 2-0. I think the fans are, everyone in the arena right now is expecting the 2-0, but TOP, maybe they can come out the gate swinging. They are running Goong once again, as we can see in the mid lane here, so we're not going to be able to see Marin in this one, so there's not going to be any roster swap-ups heading into Game 2. It will have to be in the execution and in the draft.
Yep, the TOP that has been successful so far, I would say the biggest change to the roster actually has been the support. Phage has stepped in over Cat, who is usually their support, and Phage has a much higher mechanical ceiling so far, so we see the team compositions that TOP, the current roster of TOP runs well on, are those very early aggressive compositions where they can find picks with things like the Rakan, with things like the Jhin, and really try to snowball the game early. I feel like TOP is a game that is a team that plays as a very high macro standard, but unfortunately their individual strengths in the lane has been weaker than some of the other teams. So that's been really evident in the LGD series, where we see them out-rotate the enemy team a lot, but in terms of the team fights, in terms of the laning, they can fall behind individually.
It's unfortunate when they eventually get to those fights, to the important points of the game. That being said, with this new roster, you know, Phage coming in as well, they are actually looking to make those macro plays in the first place. Back when it was the Cat era, it was just every man for himself, just let's get in there, it's just a full-on brawl, let's go. So it's nice to see a bit more structure, I would say, on TOP.
Yeah, we do miss Cat. Cat was their shot caller previously, and he was also a notorious smack talker.
Yeah, he was a madman, absolute madman. But let's get into the second game here. TOP will select blue side. They will ban away Kog'Maw, Rakan, and Caitlyn. So I wonder which lane they're targeting.
Oh yeah, very standard start from both teams here, taking away the Swain and the Alistar for RNG as well. So we are looking at the big picks left on the table being the Olaf. It was a standard lock-in first pick, but a lot of times we have seen the Trundle jungle show up in the LPL as well. So I guess no team is going for the jungle. We
have indeed. It's that Olaf pick. Alistar, Swain, and Cum were banned here against TOP, and they will first pick the Varus actually for the bottom lane for Chocho. So we're trying to get that engage happening.
Yep, Varus is Chocho's most played champion, even though he's most known for the Jhin and the Caitlyn. And I do like this pick for him. It does give them a lot of early game options. You can always get a chain of corruption in the bot lane and try to play off of that. So early aggression will be what's going to come out from TOP.
Does leave open many options for RNG. One of those includes Tahm Kench for any hyper carry of your choice to go inside that support's belly. And they can do anything they really want. So they don't need to necessarily lock in the AD carry right now. They can look towards the jungle or a solo lane, and it will in fact be Olaf for Karsa.
Good response from Karsa right there. Olaf is one of those champions that Varus never wants to see. Varus' only protection is his CC, so all of Olaf can run into him fairly easily, and also giving Ming another chance on Tahm Kench. Now, this has been one of his weaker champions throughout this split. He has had a lot of footage where he's devouring the wrong thing, so I think it's really good to get him a more experience on that champion.
Well, sure, being an exceptionally strong pick, pretty much regardless of the meta, Tahm Kench is just strong being Tahm Kench. TOP will lock down the Braum, though, for the bottom lane for themselves, so we have Braum and Varus, but that's all that TOP have showed. There's no top side of the map currently, so it will be their matching junglers as well, try and save those solo lanes for later, but TOP running down the clock.
Yeah, for TOP, outside of Marin, they really don't have a bruiser-capable top laner. We've seen Moru, we've seen Lies, and both of them have rather limited champion pools. Of course, we haven't seen them play actually that much, but so far it's been, we can usually expect like tanks being locked in early just from TOP.
Yeah, theoretically, this is a flex pick as well for TOP. RNG, I would definitely say it's a flex pick, but for TOP, it's possibly a flex pick. RNG are looking towards their mid laner though, and Azir will be locked down.
I will have to note that Goong has never actually played the Scion in the mid lane, so if he does lock it in for himself, it will be a first.
Yeah.
However, it is a good matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Yeah, the old Scion into Azir there. RNG looking towards the next couple of bans for themselves. There are possibly solo laners to be picked up, also a jungler, so they could put pressure down onto that. Zoe is in fact going to be the ban here against Goong.
Yep. What RNG is most likely to do is save that last pick for the top lane and just try to grab a carry pick for RNG. You already have the Azir, so you might want to match that scaling with something that does well in towards the late game. Of course, you still have the Tristana up for that as well, so that would be a pick I would be looking for.
And they already have the Tahm Kench set up as well, so RNG would not be surprised if they pick up something that scales well into this game. There's a Camille ban towards Let Me, who was an absolute monster in the last one. Trundle will be banned away against Karin because don't want to face that one into Olaf, so it's going to have Olaf's going to have a slightly easier time in this game. And TOP look towards their final ban. So if they want to get any dangerous AD carries off the board, now's the time to do so, but they don't. They take away the Gangplank in top lane.
Taking away the Olaf is actually quite interesting because the way I read RNG's draft was that they were going to go for a no-tank composition. And when you have no tanks, Trundle actually doesn't do much. So, I'm sorry, that was
a pillow as well. Oh, wow, there were so many Uzi body pillows in the arena today.
All right, so they are swapping over to the Tristan. Never mind.
Whoa, hello, left turn.
I was going to go like, I'm so smart. Uzi, listen to me. We have a connection. But it's like, no, I'm going to go for the Ashe instead.
Let's go utility. That's to completely prove Clement wrong. Yeah, this is actually our fourth Ashe pick so far in the split. Don't see it very often, but it will be the initiation potential for RMG coming through.
Yep, Ashe does have is one of the stronger champions in lane as well, with that 600 range. Nobody has the same range as she does. For TOP, however, they still should have a winning bot lane, and they're just baiting on what they want to go into Azir. We have seen the Kassadin before from them. As for the Cassiopeia, it's workable, but it's not a hard counter. It's a champion that you need to be exceptionally skilled to really punish the Azir. So this is going to be a test for Goon.
Oh yeah, facing down someone like Xiaohu in the middle lane to try and make that pick work is definitely a test of your skill for sure. Jarvan goes into the jungle here as well for Karin, and we look towards the final pick here from RNG. Will be a top laner for Let Me, and it's just going to be the Cho'Gath.
Yep, so once we saw the Trundle being banned, I kind of assumed that it was going to be a tank in the top lane as well. And RNG right now shifting their focus away. You're not going to be playing a 1-3-1 with Ashe. Well, maybe they can still do it with Tahm Kench, but most of the time we don't see that. Most of the damage is going to be on towards the Azir and the Xiaohu. This is a composition that does have a lot of power in the mid game. Like we said, the main word for RNG is initiative. So we do have the Ashe Herald and we do have the Shurima Shuffle, Tahm Kench with that to come out as well. A lot of tools that RNG can play around, and it's just how they want to cook that recipe.
Yeah, a bit of both for certain, initiation and initiative for the team, but you look towards TOP and they essentially just have to try and survive that onslaught in the early game and the mid game, to be honest, in all phases of the game from RNG, and just try and get towards that late game. I mean, in the first game it was very clear that they want to go late game with the double carries in mid and bot lane, but now it's slightly less of that. We've got the Varus into the bottom lane. They also have their own ability to initiate fights and try and get something rolling early and maybe match RNG.
Oh, definitely. For TOP, this composition is much usually seen on the red side, just because you can hold the Baron ramp. For TOP, they're pretty much hoping on Infernal Drakes all the way through. So they just want to get Infernal Drake after Infernal Drake, and that will allow them to set up with the Cassiopeia and Varus into the river around that area and take team fights. Their composition is very good at taking mid-game team fights, and they will try to snowball off that.
Teamfight's the name of the game. It's going to be a tough one and an uphill struggle for sure if you are TOP against RNG in this game, but they are going to give it a shot. That was also fantastic time for a team like TOP to kind of get like an on-stage scrim for themselves against a team like RNG, because, well, the top teams simply just won't skirmish against the bottom teams in the league.
Well, I'm not sure if that's the case for TOP. I mean, they do sell some pretty sick sneakers. They are the biggest distributor for
True.
Adidas and Nike in China. So
we'll trade you some shoes for a scrim.
Oh man, if you give me a Jordan for a scrim, man, you've got the entire day. I'm giving you 3 blocks.
Okay, well, I take it back. Maybe there is a possibility. For now, though, we are about to get into the second game here between Royal Never Give Up and TOP Sports. Did you just say LPL?
I think it's someone's name.
Okay. Yeah, if anything, the crowds has gotten more full from game 1 to game 2. A whole lot of RNG fans, as you can see.
I would say that is a birthday cake. It has recently been Uzi's birthday today.
It has. Happy birthday to Uzi. It was just on the 5th, so not too many days ago, Clement.
Yep.
For now, though, RNG are actually trying to make a play in the early game. Here comes Uzi Casa and Ming into the jungle. They just aggroed the red buff, in fact, and they have managed to sneak in here. They were, of course, noticed by that ward at the entrance. Karan will know this. We'll see if he moves to top side. It has been warded out by Let Me.
It's kind of an interesting play here. So they're taking away the red side gank from TOP, but usually that's kind of risky for the reasons like this, because Braum is great level 1.
Yeah, moving out of the jungle, Ming takes the tri-bush route, and Chocho's going to get a bunch of damage onto him as he walks back towards the jungle and, of course, into the lane now. So Ming will have to choke through a lot of his health potions that he picked up.
Yeah, I'm not terribly in love with that play right there, because RNG could have just straight up walked into a 3-man, and that's kind of a coin flip who's actually going to win. But RNG forced their hand, and they do get paid off of it. It's going to give them control and priority over the bot lane in terms of ganks.
Well, but Karan is looking to tip the scales here. Looking towards Zhao, who has the flag. The dragon actually lands it onto the Olaf. He has to flash away and look towards the blast cone. Opens up some distance. But Karan and Gung now looking for the invade onto blue buff.
Oh yeah, and this is going to put Olaf so far behind. Olaf is a jungler that does need blue buff to clear efficiently. So RNG's level 1 really backfires on them quite hard. I just don't like the setup. There was a lot of risk involved into it. And also just like the Jarvan is a bit of a stronger pick in terms of his health line when clearing early on. So TOP instantly leveraged that and punish RNG.
Yeah, that's what happens when it goes wrong. And TOP, really good response from them. You know, it was instant. They looked towards what they could do. It was Karan moving towards the jungle, and TOP actually get the advantage off of that early game play. The Cassiopeia now has a blue buff in the mid lane. That's going to help her a bunch into this Azir matchup. That being said, they are looking for more pressure onto Casa. He just can't catch a break. He can't even get the crab right here.
Well, I guess this was the cheese that RNG were talking about. Didn't work out very well.
It doesn't smell so good. RNG will have to look to scaling now just for a little bit, especially if you're Casa, because he has not found a lot of access to get towards those camps. We'll have to go back to his jungle and look towards his Krugs now as well. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Zhao is feeling the pressure of a Cassiopeia who has blue buff early on and will be pushed all the way back to his tower.
Yep, the important thing to note is that Gung does have the face rush for himself, so if he does land 3 auto attacks for skills, he will be able to chase the Azir down. The reason this is a skill matchup is a lot of times you need to, if you can dodge the first slow from the Azir, then you can go in onto him quite easily. But if he manages to hold you back, then he actually will hold on to the range advantage throughout most of the matchup. So it's not always the easiest thing as a Cassiopeia to punish the Azir.
And the blue buff, though, will definitely help him out. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Winter's Bite lands onto Ming, looking for that stun down from Chocho as well. He's walked into the bush and opens up a good amount of distance, so they don't get the full punish that they really wanted. And Uzi spent all that time farming. Zhao still being chased back to his tower. That Noxious Blast landing on the back side of that engage as well. So Zhao probably just going to have to try and wait and receive these minions rather than playing up against his cast now.
Ooh, that's a really interesting note on the screen. It just said that RNG can now use their team-specific emotes because the fan voting has unlocked it for them.
Oh, hey. That's pretty cool. Xiaohu underneath this
trap.
tower, though, looking for this counter gank from Karsa, but they are chasing him back. Gung takes 2 tower shots, and Karin now on the run as well. Undertow connects out from Karsa. I'm not sure if Xiaohu's feeling it, though. Now he's chasing after Karin because TOP actually split up, and Karin left out to dry. Gung moving towards the top side. He's going to be met by Let Me, and now he was in the middle of a rock and a hard place. He flashes over the wall. We'll see if RNG can finish this or not, because there's the swoop the dupe out from Xiao, who doesn't quite finish off the kill onto Gung.
Ooh. If Goon actually had the mana and turned around, threw an E at that, I think Xiao might have just died there. Really risky move for him, but it does pay off. The note I want to say about Karin is, even if that flash had landed, the damage would not have been there. So, oh, wow. Okay, so very unfortunate from Karin right there. He was trying to predict where Xiao would go, and Xiao actually just didn't notice anything. so he flashed away. Yeah. And for a prediction, he didn't get any of his damage down. He would have gotten the damage and the knockup if he didn't flash. I think he really outsmarted himself there.
Yeah, he outplayed himself. He was expecting too much from Xiaohu.
It's like, Xiaohu's this great player. He's definitely going to notice this. It's like, what? What was that?
Yeah, no, didn't work out. You played yourself. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Liza actually sends Let Me out of lane, sends him packing. Saw the ultimate come out in exchange for the flash there, so Let Me will probably teleport back to lane, but it's Liza straight up winning that 1v1 matchup.
I do have to note that was because Let Me did leave the lane to try and secure the Cassiopeia kill, so, you know, he's just evening the teleports at this point.
Now back into this bottom lane, we've got an advantage being opened up by Uzi. He's on the Sash pick, and as to be expected, the constant volley harass is just making life difficult for Phage and Chocho. As they get towards level 6 mark, though, they will have their own ability to initiate, as will the Ashe. Meanwhile, in mid lane, Karsa is looking for yet another gank onto this Cassiopeia. Gung sees it coming, though, and plays towards the top side of the lane.
FOGs did see Xiaohu try to use the Shifting Sands to try to get a pick there. He does have his ultimate already. Unfortunately, unable to secure that.
And Karin will get his red buff in this one. Not going to be contested by Karsa, who was looking for the gank in mid lane. And Karsa's going to play it more passive on this one. Go back to his own jungle, not try and counter jungle Karin and take any more risks in this game. And RNG is just having a more slow early game now that they didn't really manage to accelerate and bounce off of that first play.
Yeah, the first fight is really going to come when Karin hits his level 6. If you're talking about the mid lane, even if Karsa is waiting there for the gank, if he can get his damage off, TOP should still win the trade. Like, as a Jarvan, you can just put your damage onto the enemy mid laner so much faster. So I would expect Karin to try to unlock Goon from the mid lane just with his Cataclysm, and then try to move it gradually toward the bot lane.
Karsa just with the river walking there. We'll just walk into this bush and look for his recall here. Move towards his jungle item. Bottom lane, again, more harassment coming out. They're about to hit level 6, though, off of probably one more minion. Uzi's putting the hurt down to Chocho as well. There's the tongue out from Ming and chasing him back to this tower. Now they're level 6.
Oh, so close. The caster minions not being friends of RNG. If one of those caster minions actually took down a frontline minion, they would have hit level 6 and most likely gotten the kill right there.
Yeah, being able to follow up. He was literally just like 2 minions off. Felt so bad there for Uzi. Still, the bottom lane has been pushed back if you're TOP. Phage will get there quickly, though, with the use of teleport, but Chocho a long ways away. So Uzi does manage to open himself up quite a nice CS lead before looking for his first back of the game.
Caster minions confirmed Marin fans. Won't even help out RNG for action.
Nope. Sad in the end. Here comes the engage into the mid lane. Great ultimate in from Xiao, who knocks Gung back right into the waiting arms of the Berserker. And Olaf will find the kill.
What I was most impressed about that, it didn't even look like Xiaohu was stunned. Did he just warp that? I think he turned around
he
and
might have, yeah. I didn't think he was stunned off of that. Let's take another look,
quite surprising.
Yeah. That's where the outplay comes in. You know, Karin was expecting the reaction in the first play, didn't happen, and Xiaohu does it in the second, so never lucky.
Yeah, it's a really good read from Karsa right there, doing the preemptive gank. He's already put down vision, knows that Karin isn't on that side, and he probably has the inner track into the gank. So I really like the idea there. It's preemptively taking away TOP's plays by making the play first yourself.
And that's a kill going over once again to Karsa. So while he had maybe a dodgy early game, the Olaf is definitely catching up now. Meanwhile, in that mid lane gets the first back of the game as well. Sork Boots plus Phoenix Codex and a bunch of longswords. So moving his way towards that first Nash's Tooth. And Xiaohu scaling to the point where it's going to be a scary big bird in the mid lane.
Corrections, those are daggers.
What did I say?
You said longswords.
Ah, damn. Well, they
Small
both
note
both used to hurt people. There you go. Ming and Uzi, they're still sitting in this bottom lane. We'll be able to take out that control ward. And it's BF Sword to start the game for Uzi as well off that first back. So he got exactly what he wanted.
Yep, we do see a lot of IEs from the Ashes, just because she doesn't use the crit stat. It's actually a very stable item. It's pretty much giving flat AD for her.
Yep, will be nice. Meanwhile, in the top lane, it's a bit of a wet noodle fight. I mean, Let Me definitely managed to burn the flash earlier, or got his flash burn earlier by Lies, is what I'm trying to say. But for now, just going to be trading blows. You can see actually the Silence moving towards his banner of command himself. And Casa is going to be revealed by this ward. So a lot of the early action that we've seen from both teams trying to be set up has been mitigated by the vision that has been pre-set up by the teams. That being said, Casa is looking towards this dragon, and I remember you talking about those Infernal Dragons. Clement, here's the first one of the game.
Yep, and it's pretty much going to come off the vision control from the top side. Karsa was obviously spotted, so easy Infernal Drake going over to TOP. However, I will say that TOP is a team that doesn't have the scaling on their side necessarily, so they will have to look for a bit more early action.
Current should be able to finish this one off. Here's the Abyssal Voyage in from the bottom lane. No flash over the wall instantly from Goong. Does not want any of that. That was coming towards him from RNG. So the collapse doesn't turn into anything. We'll just get the flash from Goong.
That was a great concept play right there. Just imagine if Uzi fired his arrow beforehand. Like, he could hit his arrow and then show up right next to you. That's what the composition is.
Yeah, the point blank, can't miss that one. Karin, I believe, also flashed off of that. I think he may have still been in the pit, so flashed over the wall.
Yep. He used his standard to get the attack speed to take the Drake a bit faster. Worthwhile flash, in my opinion.
No, didn't have the ability to get out on that one. And Uzi still pushing in the bottom lane. Now, I want to ask you another question, Clement, that came from the first game, because I kind of wrecked you, because it was immediately a team fight. But we were talking about Gathering Storm, and well, it's going to happen again, because here's another 2v2 in the mid lane. Empress Divide comes in, but look, there's a Scion out from the wings. Xiaohu tries to flash away from this one. Lies is looking for the follow-through and lands the knockup out from the decimating smash. One more auto attack, stabs him, but Xiaohu, he's still running away. He's running out of there. And, I mean, he's kind of safe, but he's in enemy territory. We'll be able to try and get out of this one.
Oh, the combination was so close from TOP. What they wanted was the Scion to pin someone onto the wall, but instead Xiao was able to flash out, and it actually just stunned the Scion. So it was good setup play from TOP, but even better reactions from Xiaohu.
Can't believe Xiaohu got out of that one alive. Both of them just split up, search for clues in the jungle, and they all picked the wrong bushes all at the same time, and he just managed to recall right in the depths of the jungle. Meanwhile, teleport into the bottom lane here. Ning and Uzi have opened up a lot of distance, though, and Phage is going to say hello.
It's just a simple backing from him. Good sidestep on Xiao this entire game. He also sidestepped the Cassiopeia ult once more from Goon. Like, this is why Cassiopeia has such a hard time against the Azir. Actually locking that champion down can be so difficult in this day and age when everyone has godlike mechanics.
It's unfortunate because it is really just down to his mechanics and skill in the end. And execution. Here comes Caster into the jungle, taking away this red buff. And, you know, I feel like the word Gathering Storm, or the phrase Gathering Storm, is just cursed. Because every time I say it, action happens.
Oh, well, let's try it. Like,
Gathering Storm.
Someone's going to die in the next minute. It has been prophesized.
All right, talk to me about Gathering Storm, because I know you figured out the formula, Clement.
So I was listening to the Chinese casters yesterday, and they basically said that the number for casting Gathering Storm didn't matter. You just need to say it with confidence.
Okay.
So 40 mids, 48. If you sound confident, then people will believe you. So, but I didn't want to go that route. I actually checked the numbers, and the formula for Gathering Storm for AP is 4 parentheses x plus x square. For x is 10 minutes, it would be 1. 20 minutes, it would be 2. So that's the formula for Gathering Storm for AP. And if you want AP, you just times that by 0.6. So I've now gained the ability to give you Gathering Storm stats, whatever number you give me.
Yeah, by the minute.
Yeah, by the minute. By the 10 minutes, you know? Just don't go too high.
Yeah, before it gets difficult. Is that an American thing, saying parentheses instead of brackets in a mathematical equation?
I actually Googled it. I don't know.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Casa will shove Karin out of his jungle, and we'll wander away again, once again. Buffs are about to spawn as well, so going to be donating those over. And the second dragon of the game is also going to be another Infernal for TOP to potentially snag. So, yes, they've suffered in the early game, but if they manage to get multiple Infernals, they will be able to meet RNG on the battlefield.
Yep, and this is a great chance for them to utilize their ultimates in the bot lane. We haven't seen a single fight where Chains of Corruption came down the same time as Braum ultimate. That's the big mid-game team fight spike they're looking for, and I want to see how TOP can really set this up, because so far, RNG has pretty much won the Vision Ward already. There's nothing in that bottom side river for TOP, and if they want this mid-game teamfight to be successful, they need to invest more into it.
For sure, and you know, we've been talking about initiative and the ability to engage as well, and TOP, they have the tools here, for sure. They have Lies, Karen, even Goong and Chocho all to engage, even the Braum as well, so they have multiple ways to do it, but Cassiopeia knocked into Karsa once again, but here's the 2 versus 2. Karen comes in and locks down the Emperor of the Sands within the pit, and he has no way out. He's actually stalled and killed from Goong. Yep. The arrow didn't turn into too much, and that was a kill into the mid lane. Well played by TOP.
Yeah, I just thought that Phage actually took the arrow, but it was my bad. Jarvan was still stunned. Karin was still stunned there. But this is the type of play that we're talking about. If the Olaf needs to run into the Cassiopeia, that's a lot of time for the Jarvan to interact. And that play from Karsa right there, he actually missed his first axe. So that's a very long cooldown for him to recover, and after that you could see that the team was basically backing away.
Really nice timing on the Cataclysm as well from Karin. Actually chooses the exact moment where Xiao Hu had already used Shifting Sands, so he has no way out, didn't have the flash either, so he just trapped him inside the cage, and TOP managed to get the kill.
I think we've gotten the point. Uzi is the most popular player in
We've
the
just
LPL.
got to show that he's even more so the
Yeah.
most popular player in the LPL. That number has definitely gotten bigger from game 1. Okay, we're about 50 seconds out from the next Infernal Dragon, so expecting RNG to be setting up for that one. They already have the vision, but sure enough, Uzi and Ming are heading back to base, making sure to spend all of the gold that they have, so they're in fighting form for this Dragon play. It's going to be Essence Reaver followed by 2 daggers.
Both of the top laners still holding on to their teleports. They can assist this fight as well. But for TOP, there's just so many extra steps to actually get into this Infernal Drake. First of all, they need to clear out the mid lane minion wave, and they also need to start getting a footing in that bottom side. There is no vision over there. Like, they just can't make use of their composition if it goes on like this.
That will really be where TOP will start to bleed out in this game, so I'm hoping that they will move towards the area. In fact, Karin is moving up right now. Goong is actually pushing Xiao Hu back and trying to get control of the mid lane so he can rotate, but there's kind of a stopgap, not making anything permanent happen for themselves, and RNG are quite happy to just sit on vision, try and sneak the Baron when TOP aren't looking. Karin is wandering back and forth, and he's looking towards Karsa, who is in this bush right now, unseen.
We do have to mention Karsa's items. He's most likely going for a Black Cleaver.
Oh boy.
Using the buff from Olaf in the recent patch. Extra AD scaling on the ultimate. So if a couple more kills do go his way, that's a very scary Olaf.
Yeah, it's an Olaf who is, first of all, tanky, and second, will continue to do damage into the late game as well, because Olaf, his eternal problem has been scaling up and also being kited, but in this one he will be able to do a bunch of extra damage. For now, that 2v2 didn't turn into too much. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Banner of Command has been completed, moving towards, could be an Abyssal Mask for Sion. Meanwhile, on the opposite side will be a Righteous Glory from Let Me. And there's RNG kicking off the dragon, but that was right in front of TOP, so they're going to notice what, and then that was interrupted. Xiao Hu finally managed to Shifting Sands over the wall.
But this is an ultimate lead for TOP right now. They've only used a Cataclysm to get Xiao Hu's R as well, so this should allow them a bit of a respite and try to find their footing into that bottom lane. We can see Karin moving in right away, trying to shore everything up, and this might be the time when RNG has to actually give this up.
Wow, this is actually happening. TOP not having vision over the area and RNG having the initiative on the play end up not getting the dragon, and TOP find the second Inferno of the game.
Yeah, they were a bit hesitant. Good job on Goong keeping Xiao Hu away from the Infernal Drake. And TOP, they're writing their dream scenario right here. We said in the ban pick phase, they want Infernal Drake after Infernal Drake. They're actually going to get it. They're going to get a triple Infernal Drake. This is best case scenario for TOP.
RNG has really smiled upon TOP today, so they can find their third of the game, but already 2 Infernals are going to help them a long way to being relevant when we get to these fights.
This is really important because it means that the third one for RNG, they have to take it to fight. It doesn't matter if they've scaled up enough, they need to go in.
regardless of what that looks like. Hopefully Uzi will be on his second item by then. He is a fair ways off, but we've got another good 5 minutes to go until that point. So it's really, the deadline is approaching for RNG. What will they have? I think probably at least 2 items from Xiaohu.
Sneaky play from Lies coming in here. Not going back towards the top lane. He still has his teleport for this. Do they spot it? Of course, Uzi does have the hawk shot as well.
Oh, he's walking in. Lies is feeling it. He's in full fog of war right now. Misses the Chain of Corruption. Misses the ultimate. Phage comes in as well, looking for the decimating smash. It's actually Ming who's tanking up all of this damage. He still has flash. He jumps away. Goon coming in for the mid lane, but Ming will be dead to rights. They finally finish him off.
Yeah, the play worked in the end. And that's what is important.
That's what counts. Even if you didn't get the target you're looking for, you still got a kill. In the mid lane, though, Zhao, who's being chased away, does not get stunned up by the Petrifying Gaze, but does drop the Herald in the mid lane.
Teleport from Lies coming out as well. He's able to hold on towards his top lane. Actually, cancels it.
Yep, didn't want that. It was definitely a caster and a let me. This is going to pull a zoom in this one, so he's going to live another day, and top lane goes down to RNG.
We do need to take a bigger view on the entire situation, because I do believe RNG actually just took 2 towers off that situation into the bot lane. So
yeah, I think, mid lane tower went down to Xiaohu. That was first tower of the game to Azir. Black Drag looking for Xiaohu once again, but Let Me and Casa were there to respond.
The question really does become, is 1 tower and 1 kill worth it for 2 towers and the composition that TOP want to play with? And my answer is no.
Probably not. Karin and Phage caught in this one, 2 versus 2. Here comes Lies to back them up, and Ming is following through as well. Flag drag and the flash in from Karin to try and escape, but Phage is on the retreat. Casa, very low himself, will be saved out from the Tam Kench, and Phage goes down. Here comes the sign in from top lane, but he doesn't want any part of this either. He'll back away.
Really smart play from RNG right there, just hiding in a brush and knowing that TOP would have to check that vision. They're already setting up a siege in the mid lane, so TOP trying to feel a bit safe there actually walks in right into an RNG trap.
And they find themselves yet another kill in this game. Casa was very low though, so it was lucky that Ming was there to save his behind. And in the end, it's just another kill over to RNG, plus those 2 towers that they managed to find themselves. And I'm assuming Xiaohu is the one to pick up all of that extra gold over to himself in the mid lane. So yeah, he's now completed his Banshee's Veil off that.
Yep, we do have to take a look at the situation, and what this does do from TOP is that the map is now much more open. So this will give Lies a lot more room to operate. His ultimate becomes that more powerful. But on the flip side, I also feel like TOP's with trading this way, it does mean that the map is RNG could just split this out entirely and just never group up. So TOP could have troubles finding that big single team fight that really propels their mid-game composition.
It seems like one thing that will be certain for them to try and find a fight, unless RNG sneak it, will be the Infernal Dragon, you know. But aside from that, yeah, that will be the one golden ticket to potentially accelerating this game. I think he's just playing safely in this mid lane with Uzi here, clearing out that wave. He's also picked up 2 items, so RNG are not in too bad of a position to actually look for the fight when and if it happens, because that Black Cleaver also completed in the jungle from Casa.
TOP, they're actually setting up around the Baron right now. To take note at their composition, they actually have very good damage towards the Baron. The Cassiopeia and the Varus going in right now.
That's a Scion ultimate, but it's a long way from the play. In comes the Olaf, out goes the Olaf. He's going to be gobbled up by the Tam Kench, but in comes that Scion right into the side of Casa. That picks up that kill. Let Me and Xiaohu trying to get back to their tower now, but a nice pick over to TOP.
Yep, and this will give them a chance to go straight on to Baron. The jungle isn't there for RNG. TOP out to their old tricks. This is what they want to do. 20-minute rush Baron the entire time. Oh, no!
He was expecting Let Me to turn around into the bush. It didn't happen. There was a snake in the grass, and TOP will back away.
This is such classical TOP. Good macro ideas, horrible execution. That should be their motto. Like, if you want to see a team that has the right idea, but just can't make it happen, look at this team.
Here they are, looking for another fight. They find the initial pick onto Ming. Casa just runs all the way into the back line, then he's exhausted and he has to run away.
That was actually great. Great teleporting from Let Me just to block off the Scion. Of course, it doesn't matter. Olaf still falls down in the end. But that was the point I was trying to make, that TOP with an open map, it's much easier to leverage their semi-global abilities like that Scion ultimate.
Yeah, I thought it was the Scion ultimate that came into the side of Karska. I was like trying to figure out how the heck he died because he was in the belly of Ming. But it's actually he got spat out, and then Chocho, because he was shooting an arrow at Ming, at the exact moment Karsa left him, he got killed by the arrow. So unlucky. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Gunk separated from his team, but Karen's taking a bunch of damage as well. Uzi, he's found his prey right now. Fade jumps in to try and protect him, but RNG are slowly pushing TOP back. Multiple flashes out from TOP to try and open up some distance, but the slowdown from the first Archer is making it incredibly difficult. Jumping in front of Lies, stopping the unstoppable escape in from Lies. He'll go down, and he's slowed down as well. He will not get any kills today.
Yep, and RNG should leverage this straight into a Infernal Drake. You can see Xiao is already moving there. TOP just being caught with their pants down. Really poor positioning from Goon. Actually being caught on top of the ridge right next to the mid tower. So there was no way that TOP could have kept all of their carries on the same side, and that's the only way they can really team fight. However, being TOP, go straight for Baron when in trouble.
So unfortunate because they lost the Infernal, but RNG, there's the Hawk shot, and it's already very low. TOP are going to get this unless Ming finds the seal, and TOP, they trade Baron for Infernal.
TOP outsmart RNG. You can see the smiles on their composition right there. Phage having a laugh at himself. But first, of course, let's go back to the replay. Goong, again, bad position. What he's trying to do is push up this mid wave so they can go for the Infernal Drake. Their composition is split up. They cannot stand in this type of a scenario. So the first thing they try to do is group on the left side of the river. However, great flash from Karsa does keep Lies into the team fight, and they're able to pick up a kill.
But from that, the 4 remaining members of TOP turn towards the Baron. They burn it down. And true TOP fashion, it's always something about the Barons and TOP, whether they're Dan Gaming, whether they're TOP Sports. It's something about that Baron, man.
It's just their go-to plan. Like, things aren't going well, you know, we've never been able to find a team fight against RNG. Let's just try Baron. Why not? We drafted for it. We have Cassiopeia Varus. Like, that's actually a very good composition into the Baron itself. So just try it.
And if the default works continuously, then I guess it's okay. RNG did manage to deny the Infernal Dragon, so as long as they survive the Baron buff, it's a lot better for them in the long run instead of TOP having triple Infernals. But the fact that TOP were able to find that massive gold influx into their team is just great for the here and now.
Yeah, it's going to give them a temporary lead for them to really snowball. And if they can get that into the next Baron, like, RNG, they're going to have a very hard time engaging. So far, we've been seeing TOP being the one pulling the trigger. RNG have been the one on the back foot, and RNG have never been a great team in that position.
Case in point, RNG looking for a pick onto Lice. He runs away with the ultimate. TOP, though, managed to smack down top tower, and RNG are rotating into the jungle, maybe looking for initiate on the 4 that split. Lice is making his way to his team.
This is the LPL style. We're willing to leverage towers to try to find those picks. However, when it doesn't work, it does make the team look kind of bad.
RNG able to clear out this minion wave there, and Uzi moves towards the middle lane. In fact, just pushing in this minion wave and actually putting pressure. This is the most unexpected 1-4 that I've ever seen, but RNG is still able to protect this top side. Now, in comes the banded up cannon minion, so best of luck to Xiaohu, because we really need an AD damage dealer to take that one out. Over time, this tower will crumble.
You can see it's doing a lot less damage now that banded minion has been nerfed. You cannot get the extra damage towards towers to stack on each other, so it's just going to be a flat 50%.
Still a lot, though.
Yeah, it's still definitely a lot.
I'll allow TOP to eventually knock down the inner tower here, and that's 2 towers on the top side, so TOP have actually done a lot in terms of getting gold over to their pockets. They're now almost even with RNG in terms of gold in this game.
And if they can keep finding those big team fights with Lies coming in first over Let Me, I feel like TOP can actually take this composition to the finish line. I think the stand-up player has definitely been Lies this series so far. He's been on point on the Cho'Gath, hitting all his ruptures. And once again on Sion, I feel like he understands this champion to a level that a lot of other players probably wouldn't. Like, he's able to leave his lane when he has his teleport, try to look for those roams and ganks. And even though he's a terrible driver, the idea was the stops he's making is correct.
That is true. I will say that Karsa is starting to catch up to Xiaohu in terms of popularity. That's the biggest change I see from the last popularity graphs. He's gaining on him.
I just wonder, like, is the top 3 just those 3 guys? Do any of the rest of the LPL like even come close to that, or is it just?
Well, I assume it's because RNG are playing right now. That's you can only vote for the players in this game. I don't think it's just RNG the most popular, have the most popular players in the entirety of the LPL. It's just this game. I got the confirmation from our producer. Thank you very much.
I do want to see if Karsa can overtake it, if he like gets a pentakill or something. Like, is that actually going to shoot it up, or has everyone already made up their minds?
I don't know. You tell me. What would the Chinese community think? They do care about good plays, so I can respect that. Maybe that is the case. Now though, RNG are setting up shop in the mid lane, clearing out this mini wave once again and kind of neutralizing the pressure from TOP. No longer have the Baron buff, so it's slightly harder for TOP to just walk up to a tower and knock it down, and Uzi will go to a side lane. So we've somehow managed to find ourselves a 1-3-1 with Ashe as one of the ones.
And that's a very unexpected 1-3-1, you would imagine. Like, I would actually argue that TOP should just get the Scion in and try to bust down on the Azir. There's no reason that RNG should be able to play this way.
Oh, Xiaohu almost getting caught. Here's Ming with the potential save, but now he's being slowed down. Uzi with the rotation out from top lane, but here comes Sion once again to cut off the escape route. Finds Ming, he flashes away. Is he in range to finish him off though? Jumps over the wall because he found Xiaohu, a much bigger prize, taking down both of the carries on the team. Good night to Castro as well, and TOP get 3 picks.
All right, I have to say this, but there's no way a 1-3-1 should be able to work with a Cho'Gath and an Ashe. Like, those are 2 very immobile pieces, and I'm glad TOP was able to step up and punish that. Honestly, I felt that was a bit disrespectful from RNG to say that, hey, you know, we're just going to get away with this. None of us, our champions, are very mobile, but we're going to try it anyway. And I just don't like the idea of grouping up the way they did, and props to TOP.
Yep, they punish it, and they also had 2 melee minions still to go, and they're tanking the tower here with the tank. So even though the wave is being cut off by Let Me, TOP are able to knock down 2 towers and the inhibitor here.
Yep, great play, and this is the turbulence that RNG has always displayed. This is why nobody is talking about them on the same pedestal like we talk about teams like IG or even like Kingzone, because a lot of times their execution in the mid to late game has been very, very questionable. They do have certain ideas stuck in their head, and they're not able to adapt as fluidly to their own compositions at times.
I've definitely seen the brute force methods of RNG bite them through a lot of teams, in fact. Some games like LGD, JD managed to take games off of RNG spring to mind, but we can actually see what happened to Xiaohu right here.
Yep, let's take note of the execution here. Double ultimates going down straight onto Azir, locking him down. It did look like Xiaohu was able to get away for a moment, but of course, lies on the Scion, coming in, cutting off the back line, and then the slows coming in from Gu. We could see RNG as a composition, they were very scattered. They were caught in a position where the 1-3-1 could not help them in terms of a collapse, and that's generally why you don't have an AD carry doing the 1-3-1 on one of the side lanes, especially someone like Ashe, because there's no way she can really get into the team fight. She's a very slow champion. She doesn't have any gap closers. Like, what do you expect Uzi to do in that type of scenario?
It felt like Uzi was playing something like a Vayne on the side lane there, but he was Ashe, yeah. Lies and Gung can be spotted out by this Hawk shot, but the rest of the team of TOP are actually in the top side, see if they can try and collapse on this one, but Let Me is the only exposed member from RNG, so can't really engage on him. Biggest thing though is the fact that the Baron is up, and TOP actually have control over the area.
This is a very good Baron team that we're watching here. The Cassiopeia is going to do massive damage. She has the Leandries, and for Varus as well, % health damage.
Oh my god, it's actually happened again. I saw the Hawk shot come across, the recalls were interrupted, but like, it's too late. It's already down to 3,000 HP, and TOP burn it.
There was actually nothing RNG could do in that scenario. They were too far behind in vision. This was a massive tempo lead for TOP, and just try to think about walking into one of these brushes when you know there's a petrifying gaze waiting for you, when you know Lies is probably waiting for you as well. So, you know, I don't think there was anything RNG could have done in that scenario, and it's just about holding on for them.
Once again, weathering the storm, but how many storms can RNG actually sit through? Because they've already sat through one, and that gave a massive advantage over to TOP, evening up the goal total. This Baron, though, has actually slingshotted them ahead in terms of RNG and their gold values. So TOP will move towards the top side, and with the inhibitor already down in the mid lane, they're looking to knock another one down in the top lane.
This is very dangerous for RNG because if you look at their composition, the only way they can teamfight is front to back. And what TOP's composition is very good at countering is front to back. They have a great mid line in Cassiopeia. They have a great tank line in the Rom and the Scion as well. So I actually think for these teamfights to work, it actually will require Xiaohu to somehow get a perfect flank and split the team up. Like, it's going to be a Hail Mary, it's going to be a sacrifice play, but RNG, they just have no pressure on the flanks or from the back of the enemy team. So they're pretty much walking into a perfect situation for TOP.
This is also an RNG who are playing from behind as well. You know, RNG are very much used to having advantage from lane and then snowballing that into a win. You know, that's really just the RNG style. So watching them play catch-up now, even against a team like TOP, is it's definitely difficult to watch. And once again, the Ashes in the side lane. Here comes the initiation into the bottom lane. And Lies will guide this minion wave in. That's a huge wave of caster minions. They'll find an easy inner tower here.
Yep, no defense from RNG, just giving up the towers. And also just this rotation from TOP, how fast it came with, how it started with the Scion potential pick that right there. Like TOP, they have a lot of very good ideas.
Arrow on to TOP. That's a lot of damage actually onto Phage. He managed to back away just in time before the Sand Soldiers take him out.
Here comes
Lies is on the backside. He wants to get out of this one, but great knockup coming in from Let Me. Finishes him off, and Phage is too low to try and support. And TOP, they have to back away.
RNG
Ooh, that was close.
Once more, able to pull out a fight just because of their execution. Phage didn't have his shield up in time, gets pinned down by Uzi, and they are able to sneak a member away and actually probably hold on to most of the duration of this Baron.
So good defense there from RNG, but I just have the feeling, Clement, we just shouldn't be here in the first place.
Oh,
RNG,
no.
You know, like we've had so many cocky plays coming out from RNG, and you know, props to TOP every single time they've punished it. You know, it takes a great team to catch a throw, but RNG, they've just done so many unnecessary things this game.
Yeah, that lane assignment from RNG was atrocious. That's exactly what it was. Like, you're playing against a Scion, you're sending your 1-3-1 towards the top lane, and the one you're sending is an Ashe. Like, it's just asking to be engaged upon. There was just a bit of disrespect coming out from RNG right there. I don't think they read the situation correctly. They should have kept to their side of the river a lot more, try to scale up even more on the Azir. None of that happened. And it's just TOP, they're showing again and again. I feel like TOP, they're one good carry away from like cracking a potential playoff slot in the LPL right now. Of course, Goon and Chocho have not been that big carry, but if they can match someone with Marin, I actually feel like this is a team that's going to be incredibly frightening come summer.
Yeah, Marin +1, because Marin was a nice injection into the team. Goon actually walks away with that red buff there. But for sure, you know, Marin did a lot for the team, but it also means that like if XX isn't playing, then you know we can't see Goon also play at the same time. So there's obviously problems in terms of the import rule. But yeah, 2 carries on TOP, being in the right place and then being able to execute on that, we can see what can happen here. Because the thing is, in this game, like RNG open themselves up and TOP are always waiting there ready to receive.
Yep, TOP have outsmarted RNG on multiple turns. Both of the Baron steals, they did so without RNG having a real chance at taking it away. That's, you know, that's some Baron play that Jingdong could never imagine. Though. It's like, what? We're taking a Baron with nobody in 2,000 distance? Is that even possible? Like, Jingdong, watch this game. It's actually possible. You can do it.
How you do it. I mean, yes, there's a lot of defaulting to Baron as the plan D, but it works. The setup's already there from TOP, and they have a great team to do it as well. Now we've kind of got a bit of an ARAM going on in the mid lane. TOP are all grouped up, so are RNG. And Azir and Ashe are still pretty big.
Scaling is
engage
strong.
out from Sion, moving onto the front line, and Olaf instantly disengaged, not really feeling this one. Xiaohu getting a nice bit of damage down. Current is still waiting on the flanks, just still kind of flirting with the idea of looking for a fight. Haven't fully engaged yet. Lies just get a nice slowdown onto the front line once again. Castle doesn't have the ultimate. It will be difficult for Olaf to access the backline, but here comes the arrow. The team is split, but Goon coming in from the side, try and zone this one away. He's about to find Azir, but he just blows up the front line. Castle, though, he's immediately down, and inside the pit, the trapped 2 members of RNG. Ming and Let Me trying to get out of this one, but there's the slow. There's the follow-up out from TOP. Can't quite kill Let Me, but it's a 1-for-1 trade.
That was great play from both tanks right there. I have to say, Let Me actually play the tank lane terrifically. He was able to hit his ruptures both times.
Another engage with the Scion ultimate comes off a cooldown, but Lies may have bitten off more than he can chew. He is very low, and Let Me got a lot of his health back. Now he's on a 1-versus-1 against Goon, and the rest of TOP need to try and assist their mid laner because he's caught out by the rest of the team. Black Drang doesn't find Uzi. Kiting back now, Lies doesn't land the Q. And this is real dicey, Clement.
Yeah, they really want that inner track straight into the inhibitor if they can lock this down, but It looks like they're having second thoughts as Uzi cleans out the minion line from them. A lot of great plays from both sides right there. I feel like Let Me was really the hero for RNG in those plays. He landed all 4 his ruptures in that team fight.
RNG pretty much full health bars and fighting capacity. And the rest of TOP are trying to get back to base right now because Goong is low, Liza's low. And this dragon has been started. I feel like RNG should be able to burn this one outside of a miraculous steal out from Phage or Cho. Not going to happen. Skill shots too late. And RNG, they secure the Elder Dragon.
Yep, not a good smite from Karsa, but does the trick. They do get that Elder Dragon, and they're sitting on two dragons themselves as well. So it's going to give them a lot of fighting power against TOP's teams right now at the Baron Pit.
Because that's about to approach, so maybe if RNG can leverage that into the Baron as well, that would be the swing that RNG have been looking for. But TOP, they're here, ready to receive. Once again, waiting in the bush. Goong into the bottom, the engage, out from the Ash Arrow, hits the front line. Braum is already down, and Goong gets pushed into the team. The Emperor's Divide is good, and Lies is caught by himself, looking for the decimating smash. But RNG are still pushing front to back, and Uzi will be able to finish him off alongside Karsa.
Great catch right there. TOP were not in formation. Goong was still trying to get with the team. Without Goong, TOP don't really have a mid line to fight against RNG. And also, great play from Karsa with that Black Cleaver Olaf. Able to just hack through everyone.
That being said, there was a huge minion wave in the bottom lane that not only takes the tower, but it's now onto the inhibitor as well. RNG will get this one, and now they have the Baron buff and the Elder Dragon buff to try and swing this game.
RNG had a minute tempo advantage in the mid lane, and they're able to snowball it to both major objectives. So that was experience coming through RNG. Then TOP, they were just hesitating in that mid lane. They wanted to go forward for the inhibitor, but they didn't really have the health bars to do it. RNG did the smart and safe thing. They actually recalled their weak members, kept Uzi, who was full health, on the map. And just because of that macro play, they're able to secure 2 major objectives. This is the difference between top tier teams and, middle of the pack teams.
The ability to recover, but oh my, it was so close. If TOP won that mid lane fight, it would have gone very differently. But it's what you say, like TOP, they are in the right place, but sometimes they just can't execute even with this massive advantage. And still, this game is on a knife's edge. This can go either way.
Yeah, I just have to say, RNG resetted much better than TOP right there. The key word is really understanding how to reset, rotating your members back to the base and having them come back at full health. So they were able to get tempo advantages both times around that Baron and also that Elder Dragon.
And now the question is, how much damage can RNG do with both of these buffs? Elder Dragon is going to expire is what I was trying to look for very shortly, but the Baron buff, they got another 2 minutes on that one as they push the top lane. Curran, he's on the side flank. He does have that control ward, so he can sit out of vision. See if he can potentially find and engage.
The ult there was used by the Varus right there. Chocho throwing his Chains of Corruption, but RNG backing out just as fast as well. The real MVP so far for this RNG team fighting composition, a lot of the times, has been Let Me. He's been able to consistently lock down the backline and not allow them to deal damage.
There's a moon wave crashing right now. They're trying to get Xiaohu near the tower. He's shifting sands away. Nice dodge out of the fissure as well. And slowly but surely, the TOP options to try and engage are dwindling down.
The tower is left at below 1,000 HP. They're still waiting for the minion wave. RNG will have still one more push here. We can see Xiaohu heralding his minions toward the high ground.
Getting them into the lane. Here comes the last cannon minion as well. Curran is off to the side, still looking for that flank to happen, but eventually this tower will eventually crumble. There's the Ash Arrow onto Braum. He backs away towards his AD carry, but he re-engaged out from Curran. Maybe he doesn't really want this one because he jumps away. Goong trying to get involved in the fight. Now he can unload on top of the Cho'Gath. He takes the Cho'Gath down on RNG. May just be routed.
Another great execution from Karn right there. He, once again, cataclysms on the backline and then EQs out. So locking down the entire backline from RNG and also keeping the front line in the jaws of TOP. TOP are finally able to utilize their teamfight potential. This is a team composition that is very well built. They have very good lines from front to back, and if you let them hold their formation, they can smash you.
And TOP regrouping now after going back to base, consolidating their power, and Let Me's down for another 30 seconds, so TOP will be challenging now over these open inhibitors that RNG have. That being said, the Emperor of the Sands is holding the line at the towers right here, the tower rubble I should say, And Lies, he's low himself, but the Chain of Corruption goes onto the Spell Shield. And Phage, he's low, but he flashes away. Lies under attack as well. He jumps away, but down goes the Braum. And Lies is trying to get out of this one. Chocho also at critical HP. RNG continuing the chase, but they're a little too slow.
Massive overstep from Lies coming out there, going in blind. RNG members were already waiting for him, so they took out most of his health before he could even get away from that fight. And I just don't understand, what is it between Lies and Karsa? Because Lies keeps on using his ultimate and running it into an Olaf who is CC immune. Like, I don't know, like Karsa probably like stole his money, stole his girlfriend or something. Like, something's happening between them, because that made no sense from Lies.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing that keeps on happening, but RNG are able to turn this into mid lane pressure here onto the tower. Phage is still dead. 5 versus 4. Karin takes an undertow and he's slowed down. Here comes Let Me looking for a potential engage. Pops the Righteous Glory. Arrow comes through, lands onto the tank, flash forwards, and there's the follow-up from Let Me. Karsa off to the side, zoning away Karin and RNG. The main focus is the inhibitor. In comes Karin. Flag and drags out once again. They've trapped Ming. There's a catfish in the barrel, but they can't quite kill him. Karsa off to the side, getting chased down, and there's the Chain of Corruption. Karsa will go down, and Karin gets the kill.
Great team fighting from Karin once more. He's able to use the Cataclysm again. We should give that a combo name. I'm going to call it the Karin Arena right there, because there's actually nobody inside the arena aside from the enemy team. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to call it.
Okay. I'll remember that one, but for now, that's 1 kill again over to TOP, and it feels like we're trading one player at a time from both teams, and then we're just ping-ponging back on the map, going up to the inhibitors over and over again.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of good teamfight decisions there. I really like what Goon did. He actually went forward and put the miasma between Let Me and the rest of the team. So even though Let Me was able to flash onto the Scion, he wasn't able to close the deal out. He expected he would get the slow from the Ashe. That did not happen, and he wasn't able to feast onto the Scion right there. That's what kept Lies alive. And then TOP were able to come back and split the team fight. If you watch that team fight, the reason that TOP were able to win was because RNG was actually caught kind of out of position. They were being flanked by TOP. They weren't holding their formations, and Goon had easy access onto targets like Xiaohu and Uzi.
And this is where you've got to say, well played to TOP. You know, we were calling them out for their execution and fights in the big moments, but in multiple big moments, probably had 4 fights back-to-back in the mid lane near those inhibitors. TOP have actually managed to stand up to RNG. So even though they have this star-studded roster, there are still cracks on the armor.
Yep, this is the revenge of the nerds against the jockeys. We definitely could see TOP pull this one out just with better positioning and better macro decisions.
Man. Now you're making me really want to root for TOP if they're the revenge of the nerds. RNG in the bottom lane, pushing up with another minion wave coming in. They don't have the Baron buff, it's spawning in 30 seconds, as is the Elder Dragon. There's the engage out from Lies, moving on to the front line. Save out from Ming, but he's trapped in place now as well. Fissure flashed away from. Karsa is also running away with the Ragnarok in tow. Arrow lands onto Lies, but we're just trading damage on tanks right now.
Yep, and it does look like TOP will be able to step back away from that. That was a good try from them. Let Me wasn't close to RNG's composition right there, so they decided to push their luck and get in. Unfortunately, crucial ultimate miss right there from Chocho, unable to lock the team down.
And RNG, they have control over the jungles. The super minions crashing into the top lane, minions into the bottom lane as well. Baron is up, Elder Dragon is up.
No, TOP, this is not a good time to go for Baron.
RNG, they may have managed to sneak in from behind. The Solid Snake play, and Ming and Xiaohu trying to get out alive because there's a follow through out from Scion, but there is no team behind him.
Okay, TOP, you guys are defaulting to Baron way too much. Your base is in shatters. That's not a good way to go for, not a good time to go for the Baron buff.
There's another engage. The Karin pit comes out once more, flashed away from Karsa, but the Cho'Gath, the line is still holding strong. Phage tanking up a bunch of that damage as well in from Xiaohu, but here comes the arrow, dodged away from by Goon, but top tower is low. The super minions are making short work of that one, and triple inhibitors are now down. If RNG want to back away instead of dealing the finishing blow, they could take both monster objectives, but they are still here looking for the kill.
RNG should back, but too late now.
Yet another engage from Lies, jumps onto that front line. Karin comes off to the side, but he doesn't have the Cataclysm, plans the flag and drag, but they are going to slice and dice him up. Let Me is down though, the front line's already died from RNG. Now it's damage control. Ming trying to get out of here with the AD carry. Uzi over the wall, flashes away, volley away from the fight as well. And Xiaohu, he's caught out. Karsa will move away from the fight, but Uzi caught on top of that as well. Can they win the game from here?
He's going to try to put down the tower. He's actually used his ultimate extra AD right now. He's trying to chop down the towers, but can he really do it?
It's him versus Lies. They actually send in fire support as well in terms of Chocho. And Carson will not get out of this one. He takes one tower and will be the master for the team. We've got 40 seconds at least for TOP to try and finish the game.
What does TOP want right now? They could probably take both inhibitors and still look for a Baron play, but Chocho's actually very far behind the curve. He's still dealing with the super minions flooding into their base. I assume it's 2 inhibitors and probably just back to base defense.
2 inhibitors and maybe a start off on a monster objective as well. Depends what TOP are looking for. They're keeping Gung here. There's a lot of damage against his inhibitors now with the amount of AP he has. Things are going towards both of the big monster objectives. And Chocho, we started it off. They want Baron.
Yep, and RNG, when they're out of their base looking at the map, they're probably going to all head for the Elder Drake right now. TOP's motto is take the Baron, win the game, so it should be no surprise to them. They are going to clear out the minion wave and try to reset on the map for that Elder.
Going to be the spirit of a big purple worm versus the spirit of a massive Elder Dragon. We'll see which one will emerge victorious, but what a team fight out from TOP, taking that one over RNG and taking so much in this game. And once again, we're back to neutral.
This is the second Elder Drake, I believe, and it's going to be the second Elder Drake we've seen in the LPL so far. No game has gone as far as this game has, and we do have to remember that that's going to give them 100% bonus on their Elder Drakes. Luckily enough, they only have 1 Infernal for TOP. So it's going to be a lot of true damage, but I think TOP still have a chance to defend this.
Yeah, in terms of combat power, RNG may come up trumps here. They have Uzi pretty much full belt, Xiaohu the same. Versus Gung and Chocho. A lot of damage on both sides. Karin, again, looking for the flank. See if he can zone away the backline. Has that Cataclysm ready to go. Plus the flash. You can close a lot of distance as we look towards this fight. The inhibitor is the main objective here from RNG.
We have to give props to Karin right there. He actually did buy a stopwatch and then sold it afterwards. So, making a lot of use of the items, and the cooldown actually, I believe, does go down if you constantly buy and swap between the stopwatches. So good play from him over there, and just holding on to dear life, using the most out of that Karin pit that we're calling it for. On RNG's side, however, there was no reason for them to stay after that play. They already had triple inhibitors. They're all sitting there at half health, and this really reminds me of that game where Fnatic was able to come back against them at Worlds this last year.
Yeah, it's still haunting them to this day. Xiaohu will back away from the jungle, and the ebb and flow, TOP are now pushing up as well. Karin potentially finding Ming right here, but just sending him away back to his base, and TOP are now on the offensive. He's looking for the engage. He's found Chocho, looking for the knockup. He's got it. There's the arrow as well, and the AD carry may just be throwing the game right here, right now. RNG get the pick, and Lies goes into the backline, but he wants to run away. He yells cowards as he gets out of there. Kasa actually obliterated by Gung as he stands and fires down on top of the tank. Flag drag, here comes the teleport in from Letme. He wants to try and find the rupture. Doesn't tag onto anyone from TOP. Lands the slow onto Karin. The team is too slow to catch up, and it's a 1-for-1 trade.
But it's one team with their AD carry and the other one without. So the question is, can TOP actually hold this final push from RNG?
We'll go to the inhibitors once again, maybe play it slow. RNG are gifted another opportunity to be here, to knock down triple inhibitors. What will they do with their second chance, their second time? And what seems like Groundhog Day, TOP pushing towards RNG, looking for a potential engage. Chocho's still down though, so missing a large portion of their damage. They're trying to keep them at bay. Uzi, yeah, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is about to come off cooldown. In fact, he has it just now. Xiaohu is pushing towards the tanks right here, looking to put the damage onto Karin. And RNG, they back away this time around.
Yeah, I felt like RNG actually could have feigned a little bit just to give TOP to show themselves and then use the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. But nitpicking aside, that was some atrocious play from Chocho right there. Going into the mid lane alone and being caught out, but Xiaohu's going to do the same.
Gets caught out, but he's able to. Shifting sands back to the team. Karin props on trying to find another pick, but that did delay the recalls on RNG.
This is an Olaf with damage, so he should be able to clear out this wave quite easily. And we have to fight reset. Both teams without 2 inhibitors.
This game is absolutely absurd, Clement. It's been on a knife's edge for what has essentially been maybe 20 minutes, 23 minutes since the half an hour mark. It's been objectives flying back and forth, and we're probably going to see ourselves a third Elder Dragon in this game. I would not be surprised.
Oh man, you know those buffs that Riot gave the second Elder Drake? That pretty much meant that they didn't want to see games go to the third one. But you know, we're gonna defy that. We're the LPL.
Yep, we'll break convention. You think a game is guaranteed to end off double Elders? Nope.
Yeah, I never thought a team would actually be able to survive through double Elders, but TOP made it work again and again.
They are living proof that you can. RNG are warding up the area. Once again, I think we're going to come down to these monster objectives. Both teams are reeling from inhibitors being down, and one just respawned from TOP in the bottom lane, so it's going to be a godsend for them for sure. But RNG are the ones being proactive, placing down the vision, trying to choke out TOP of their vision, of their information.
Yep, Let Me has been massive in these couple of team fights. He's full build right now, and if you look at the Azir, he also has the Berserker's Grief, just going for maximum damage, trusting his tank line to hold for him.
RNG moving towards this inhibitor that has just respawned. Xiao, who puts down a lot of damage before shifting standing away. There's Lies, follows up onto the front line once again. The Karen pit is good, lands onto the entire back line. But Lies, he's tanking the damage up, he flashes away. The Feast comes down from Let Me as well, and Phage also bring up the shield to protect Gung. No one is dead, but there are a lot of wounded members on both sides. RNG push up again to the inhibitor. They want their prize, they want to take it down. The structure's dead, and RNG look to disengage.
Too many flashes being used for TOP right there. Goon wasn't able to get the engage he wanted to, and what happened was Let Me was able to slip out from the right side of that team fight. What TOP wanted was to keep all the carries on the left side and kill Let Me then, but unfortunately unable to make that happen right now. Xiao is very low, however.
RNG choose to back away once more. Triple inhibitors down. RNG with double Elder Dragon on the last push, and TOP are still kicking. This is actually unbelievable.
They are down 3 inhibitors compared to RNG, so RNG should be able to reset and take the Baron without much disturbance from TOP.
That's the operating word though, Clement. Should. Should has many times come into the equation in multiple of these fights, but RNG have still not managed to find a win. Neither have TOP. But this next Dragon, this next Baron, I have a feeling should finish off the game for either one of these two teams.
It should happen, but a lot of things should have happened in this game as well.
True.
Look at that Azir build, the super late game Azir build. He actually goes for the Gunblade just for the sustain in terms of team fighting. He knows that Varus at this point, with how much AD and double Infernal Drake, he's actually getting poked out with just 2 shots of the penetrating arrow. And, you know, he's actually going for more sustain. Really interesting builds. Like, you don't get to see this often in the LPL.
Oh boy, Karen stepping up, dodges the rupture. That was completely blind. Happens to make a right turn at the right time. Phage again.
Get away with that.
Dodging from the rupture. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you, but he just did. And RNG, it's a stare down currently, because all they need to do is keep TOP here. There are super minions crashing in top lane and bottom lane in the base.
So it does look like the Baron will go over to RNG. They've actually already finished it.
It's already dead. RNG pushing in the waves. It's triple inhibitors down. The best that TOP can do now is trying to clear out these minion waves before the big ones crash in from RNG. But now they have to play against the entirety of the enemy team as well. Goodbye, inhibitor. You never even existed.
All 11 towers down. This is the last hurrah for TOP. Can they actually defend this?
It's into a Baron. They're not going to wait for this dragon to spawn RNG. They're trying to put the nail in the coffin right now. Again, the engage comes in from Sion. Lies gets the knock into the backline, but look at the damage in from a late game Ashe. He's almost down, but Phage is protecting his top laner. Karen, he's jumping towards the team because RNG, they're actually going towards the Nexus. They're looking past TOP right now, and Xiaohu and the carries are actually getting for the team. Down goes Uzi. What are RNG doing? TOP, they're actually finding a way into the game. The Nexus, it's so low, and RNG finally finish off the game.
RNG, they take the riskiest course of action, actually splitting up the team fight, trying to go for the Nexus tower, the same time as continuing the top lane fight. We can see smiles from TOP, however. They shouldn't be too sad about that game. They should be proud of their performance. Taking a team like RNG to inhibitor trades, to 50-minute double Elder Drake team fights.
They took RNG to their limit, and I cannot believe RNG in the heat of the moment decided to gun towards the Nexus instead of looking towards the fight. Uzi was down. Like a couple seconds later, that was a couple inches away from TOP wiping out RNG and probably just winning the game.
I think both teams are shaking their heads in disbelief that that game was actually played on stage. It was definitely had a couple of solo queue moments here and there, but great for RNG to actually pull that off. Not a strong performance from them, but a very exciting one.
The confidence in the moment to say, this is a risky play, but we are good enough players to make it work. I mean, no one can feel really bad coming off of a game like that. Well played to both teams. Honestly, that was an amazing game for many different reasons, for a variety of reasons. But congratulations to RNG in the end for taking it. But also good stuff from TOP. You know, you're talking about the fact that like if they had one more piece of talent on the team to be a carry, then maybe that would be the difference between them being a bottom tier team and maybe a mid or top tier team. But they were able to hold the base against all odds against RNG in this game.
Yeah, and they almost flipped the last team fight as well. Let Me able to slip away prevented the trade while they took down Lies in the end. Just TOP, once again, we have to say it, they have a great coaching staff. They have great ideas about how to manage the game. They have good macro plays. A lot of the times, it does come down to individual mistakes for them. If you look at this game, you have to wonder to yourself, hey, what if they got that double kill trade in the bot lane when they missed 3 ultimates in a row? What if Chocho didn't give his life in the mid lane? That would have drastically changed the outcome of the fight. So TOP, you know, they are really close to becoming an actual threat.
And this game definitely demonstrates that. Well, I'm just taking a look at some of the damage numbers in this game, and there are some absolutely ridiculous numbers. 76,000 from Xiaohu. Almost 50k from Uzi, more than that from Chocho, 55,000, 56,000 out from Goong as well. Even the tanks did so much damage in this one.
Yeah, it was a very long game, and we can see the gold graph. That's that jump off from the bridge. That's when RNG told themselves, hey, you know what? We don't have a 1-3-1 comp, but we're going to play a 1-3-1 anyway. And that really bit them hard on the behind.
It absolutely did, but TOP, again, they punished those moves. They were in the right place at the right time to receive those plays from RNG, and they were so close to winning this game. Like, when they wiped them in mid lane, I actually thought that was it. I thought straight up TOP were just going to finish it off.
Yeah, the only thing that was keeping RNG in the game was actually just their experience and better resetting overall, but that was a very, very close team against between two teams that shouldn't be close at all.
A risky thing to play off in the end, but well played to RNG in the end for taking the win 2-0. For now, though, we are going to send it over to the analyst desk to break down the series. Best of luck, guys.
Well, them Trailer Park boys found themselves in quite a mess once again. Yes, they did, Cletus. Oof. I say, that was one hell of a game. 58 minutes in.
Yes, it was, Cletus. No, honestly, like,
who's Cletus?
You're Cletus.
Why am I
now.
Cletus?
Because you're
That's
acting
an actual
like Cletus.
thing.
But
okay,
seriously.
Here's what's what. 58 minutes. Not the longest game in the league. Also, not the most kills in the league. But they were giving us a run for their money.
Yes, they were.
Holy cow.
There is no reason for RNG to win that one. I felt like, and Clement was right, by the way. Clement was right in talking about experience because it was an experience game.
Yeah.
It was RNG recognizing that a lot of the team fights, they were going to get run down. And when they found opportunities, they threw out their Ash arrows when proper. Let Me had the game of his life throwing out Q after Q, being able to launch multiple people up in the air.
Ruptures.
So those ruptures were fantastic that game. And I think that when it came down to push and shove, the one person that did break in the 50-minute point was Lies. So Lies, when they were marching down towards that Nexus, I tell you, man, the amount of times that he just pushed right in and he's like, well, there goes 70% of your HP.
Absolutely fight here. And the team was like, no, we cannot. And he's like, fine, I'm a Scion. I've got some health back. That being said, though, we will be getting an interview with Let Me in just a few short minutes once we finish breaking down this series. But Raz, what is there to break down? That was 58 minutes of these two teams looking at a chessboard and not moving any pieces.
There were pieces being moved. It was just
cerebrally or like on the board? Because we saw the items being traded.
Let me tell you about this day.
Okay.
Because this was the day of just double Elder Dragon being taken. The second series, of course, we saw that being taken, and RNG needed that and then some. The amount of inhibitors that they were able to take, but then realized they couldn't get past the tank line, and they ultimately had to make a hero play onto the Nexus. All of that was down to the fact that Ashe was getting run down, didn't have the damage to be able to get to the back line as well. So it was RNG not having the team fight strength in the composition, as you can see, Uzi's being moved onto the stage. But they won because of the fact that they were calm. They were patient. They saw their opportunities, and that's, I would say, an attitude of a champion Now going into playoffs, going up against WE. I'd love to see better compositions, and that attitude will do them well.
A champion, you say?
Yes.
Ripped to shreds, you say?
Yes.
I'm just saying, he's never won an LPL title. The uncrowned king.
A few series. I mean, round one's all you need. No, I'm just saying, at least they need to go round around.
Yeah.
Going up against WE to start, that's an important one because it is a championship matchup if you look to 2017.
Yes.
So now going into 2018, they have a long road to go.
You're exactly right. It is the return of RNG going up against WE,
Yeah.
who claimed the title from them in the reverse sweep. And even so, still, RNG, they show that experience. They show that veteranship when it actually counts. The question is, will it carry into the playoffs? That's always been where it ends up buckling. That being said, to help hear from RNG themselves, we've got Clement about to share a few words from Let Me.
Hello, everybody. With me is Let Me right now. I've got to ask, that was an absolutely insane game played by both teams right there. Can you kind of walk us through the last team fight there and how the shot calling was done to go for the Nexus Tower? 我想问，就是刚刚那场比赛，我觉得真的是太疯狂了。我绝对没有想到会看到你们跟 TOP 打这样子一个比赛。那你能跟我大概讲一下，在最后一个团战里面发生了什么事情？然后到底是谁call说要去打主堡，不打那个团战嘛？因为这真的是一个非常非常惊险的call。那也恭喜你们最后取下胜利。
好。就最后一波团战嘛，是本来就是大家是要先打赢团战，然后再拆家的嘛。然后我们辅助小明就在那指挥，一直指挥 A 基地 A 主堡这样。
那你自己觉得这个指挥是正确的吗？
我当时也不清楚是什么情况嘛，因为对面一直有人在打我，然后我视角只看到我自己嘛，所以也不清楚是什么情况。
Okay, so in the last team fight, the call originally was to finish the team fight and then go for the Nexus Tower. However, there was a voice screaming in the team fight, "Hit the Nexus! Hit the Nexus! Attack the Nexus!" And that person was Ming, of course. And I did ask follow up. Did you think that was the right idea on your end, Let Me? Let Me was very, very loyal to his teammates. He said, I actually couldn't see most of the screen. People were hitting me, so I just followed the call, and we did pull it through. Great play from there. This was a very close game between you guys and TOP. What do you think about this roster from TOP? Would you give them any pointers to kind of grow up as a team? Because it was surprisingly close. 就这场比赛，我觉得你们跟 TOP 其实打得非常非常的一个紧张这样子。那你能帮我们大概就稍微评价一下？就是你觉得 TOP 这个阵容是不是你们觉得实力大概在哪里？你们为什么会跟他们打得这么紧？
这把主要还是就大家打的就可能没有那么集中吧，对，然后比赛时长也打得比较久嘛，然后大家集中力可能没有太够吧，然后出现了一些配合方面的失误啊，然后一些小失误这种，然后导致打了这么久。不过 TOP 战队说实话也挺强的。
All right, so Let Me's answer is this game went on for a long time, so there were a lot of coordination problems. I think the team lost a bit of focus at the end there, but I still have to say that TOP overall, pretty good team. My final question for you is, of course, you're looking towards WE in the 4th place toward the Western Conference. Can you tell us, give us a bit of pointers, and what do you think are going to be the key points of that matchup between you guys and WE? 最后一个问题想问的是，你们在季后赛其实现在已经锁定要对上 WE 战队了，这样，那你能跟我们讲一下有哪几个对上他们的话，你们自己要注意有哪几个关键点吗
？WE 的话，说实话，就因为我们也算是老对手了嘛，因为就打了很多场比较关键的比赛嘛，跟他们，然后对阵他们的话，我看关键点就在于看哪边战队发挥的更好吧。对，因为我觉得我们两个战队实力的话，应该是不相伯仲的这样，然后就看哪边发挥的会更好一点，所以哪边就更有可能赢下这场比赛。
All right, so Let Me with a very humble answer. We've been old rivals between RNG and W for a long time. It really does come down to who performs better on the day. And with that answer, we're going to throw it back to the analyst desk. Take it away, Dom.
I'm here too.
I will take it away. This is my desk now.
God dang. All right.
All right. But we just heard from RNG, TOP sort of losing focus towards the end of the game. That sort of echoes what we saw. Lies stepping a bit too far forward from his team, ends up getting chunked out, and then that gave the opening for RNG to actually attack the Nexus and finish it off.
Yeah, and that just comes down to experience. Of course, fresh face on the team for the year that they've been. Also, Dan Gaming as well. He's been there for quite some time.
Yeah.
So just the 2 years that he's had so far on the roster on a Premier League. Just need a little bit more experience on the stage. This is a good time for him to have it, of course. We might not know how long it's going to be if Marin comes back onto the roster. So, get that experience, soak it in, and hopefully next games look better.
Yes, like some warm sunshine on a bright summer day. Yes, exactly like that. Xiao takes our MVP in the mid lane. Speaking of sunshine, the sun god of Azir, 7-3-4.
I'm disappointed.
Why are you disappointed?
41% of the damage of his team is incredible, and he played out the later game team fights, as difficult as it was, really well. But Let.Me, team fighting, very strong. So I thought that Let.Me should have been able to get that one, but you know what? There's no love for tanks these days.
There's not. I mean, we've seen enough tanks as it is, Raz. It's Kerry's time to shine. Let's take a look at the standings so we can actually see where everything stands at the end of the East Conference. The final games have been played, and we are finally locked down. Invictus Gaming, 18-1, take first place and get that semifinal seed.
Yep, Rogue Warriors, RNG, Jingdong. RNG knows who they're going up against, so that's the one they're placing up to WE. Jingdong just have to wait for the true last day of the LPL tomorrow, as Snake and BLG are still fighting for second and third. Third place is going to be Jingdong's opponent. So, I mean, BLG going up against EDG. If they cannot take down EDG, then it's going to be BLG versus Jingdong.
And already you saw the other teams that have been eliminated for tomorrow's matchups. We're going to start things off with WE versus OMG in the final games of the West Conference, the final games of the LPL Spring 2018 regular season.
Yeah, so that first set doesn't mean too much, but then when you go down to the very last one, that's why you have to get comfortable, get the popcorn rolling or whatever you eat. I don't know what culture you have, but EDG and BLG are the ones that end off the day, end off the regular season, or at least the split.
Yeah.
Spring split.
And that's going to decide the final placement for the West Conference. Raz, what do you eat?
What do I eat?
Is it popcorn? Are you a popcorn guy? Is that what you're going to be
snacking on for the
whole day? A lot of burgers and
fries.
Okay,
That's
burger
my
and
culture.
fries. That's what it's going to be. The classic.
Maybe poutine, I guess.
The classic. And it's a little bit of maple syrup on top, yeah?
No, I can't find it in this
No?
country.
Well, we'll have to figure that out.
That'd be disgusting, too. You don't put that on poutine.
We're
What are
done.
you talking
We're
about?
going home. Thank you so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Get yourself some rest because the LPL 2018 spring season finishes tomorrow, and we'll see you there for it. Thank you, and good night.